Hello and thank you for joining us today. I'm Melandra Jacobs and with me is Oculus Chief Commercial Officer Robert Kendall. In this session, we will analyze the benefits of business intelligence in the healthcare sector, specifically pathology. I'm excited about this unique case study where we will uncover how Oculus data analytics are revolutionizing the Namibia Institute of Pathology's operations. We will discover the issues they've experienced and the world-class solutions that help solve them. Robert, welcome back. So Rob, can you introduce the Namibia Institute of Pathology to our audience and explain its significance in Namibia's healthcare system?
Sure. So they provide laboratory services to the private and public healthcare system inside of Namibia. They play a crucial part in, let's call it, the services that are provided by medical practitioners, laboratory services across the country to the general Namibian public.
And what were the primary data management challenges that NIP faced before adopting Oculus data analytics software?
So when they came across us, they were essentially battling with three key problems. The one was data sovereignty. What that essentially means is that the data needed to reside inside their network within the boundaries of Namibia. The second was that the speed of the reports, because it was large, massive volumes of data, all that data had to lift out of their network and go across the borders into other data centers in other countries, other continents for that matter. So all these reports were slow and sluggish because of the volume of data and processing that had to take place and travel over the internet. And then the third thing was cost. So for that cost, with the speed issues, with the data privacy concerns that they were having, those were three key challenges that they were trying to overcome.
And what motivated NIP to partner with Oculus for BI solutions?
So I think a couple of things, again, really counted in our favor. One was the ability that we offered the POC route. So a POC route is where we essentially say to the customer, we're going to prove to you our software is going to work, but we're not going to charge you to use the software. We provide it to them for free for the period of the POC. All that we asked them to do was pay for our time. Then I think also the fact that we were able to deliver the solution quickly. And then obviously we started to tick those three challenges that they had. The fact that we could deploy on-prem was a key requirement for them. The fact that our cost came in at probably, I'd say, a sixth of the cost that they were paying monthly in terms of the licensing was a big tick. And then obviously the fact that because we're deploying on-prem, the data doesn't need to go between countries or between continents or between different data centers. So the speed of the reports was significantly enhanced. I think those factors all counted. And then obviously the fact that we were very agile in how we dealt with them and we were quick to deploy and show value.
And what were the initial reactions from the NIP staff and stakeholders upon integrating Oculus into their systems?
What we encounter a lot initially with some customers that haven't dealt with us before or for the first time is a bit of a trepidation in terms of, cautiousness. Are these guys really as good as they say they are? And can their software do what they claim to do? But once we weren't even complete with the POC. I think we only had utilized about 100 hours and we already showed the value. And I remember having a conversation with the gentleman's name is Melvin. And he also came back and he was just saying he cannot believe at how quickly we were able to deploy something, and not just a solution, but something that they realized was solving their problems. So I think the feedback was one of amazement and astonishment, and not that I wouldn't say they didn't believe us, but I think we surprised them at how quick we were able to roll out the solution. Internally now, fast forward, call it almost 15, 16 months after NIP being an Oculus customer, I think internally their businesses or their departments and their staff are becoming highly reliant on the insights of what Oculus is providing to them. So much so that we've gone from laboratory tests and pathology data, now we're branching out into more operational and financial data requirements. So the NIP have definitely seen that the Oculus solution isn't specific to a certain data set, we can encompass any sort of data set, and they are moving more and more requirements over onto Oculus.
Can you share examples of how real-time data analytics have enhanced decision-making processes with NIP?
Sure. So when we started working with the NIP, we realized that they were dealing with a vast amount of data dating back 20, 25 years. So we were dealing with billions and billions of rows of data. So I think what they then relied on Oculus as not just our software product, but also we provide a professional service and an expertise in big data management, is that we optimized how we essentially queried this big data, because previously it was essentially effectively unusable. So essentially what we did was we made the large volume and the big data that they were trying to provide analytics on and reporting on, which was not conduent to analytic reporting. We were able to provide aggregations on that large data, which helped them then view it in a platform like Oculus.
In what ways has the platform optimized inventory management and reduced wastage?
So I think once they were able to use Oculus on top of their inventory management and provide the insights on that, they started to have a better understanding about what stock needed to be delivered where, what outstanding purchase orders were needed to be fulfilled. So they had a much better insight in terms of the distribution of the different stock across laboratories across Namibia. So it definitely reduced wastage in terms of, maybe stock expiring and not being delivered on time, or even knowing what's in the different laboratories outside, in the smaller laboratories, and which stock was going to be expiring before it even expired.
Can you elaborate on the implementation and impact of automated alerts for critical test results, like newborn HIV tests?
Yeah, sure. So, that's an interesting problem that we solved. So essentially, as these tests are conducted and loaded on an internal system inside the NIP, Oculus has a connection into that database where the data is stored. And because we do real-time monitoring, we are able to, without writing complex code queries or code solutions, so essentially we're able to connect to the data source, pick up or monitor it, pick up that this test has come in, it's been positive or negative, and then essentially send out the notification to the staff, internal staff at NIP, and then they handle the communication out to the different clinics or where that patient is residing. So it's definitely enhanced the speed of the communication that goes out from the NIP without having to spend hours upon hours of writing software code. So Oculus doesn't just perform a data analytics or a data intelligence platform, but we even deploy essentially like a rapid automation platform in the sense that we're monitoring data.
It's a life-changing solution.
Yeah.
How can future use of AI enhance NIP's operations?
So I think what we can do with the Gen AI and the machine learning models that we have in Oculus is we can start to use these models to predict future volume of laboratory tests. So that can also help with them to forecast revenue models, to forecast what they need in terms of stock management, so do a bit of stock forecasting. So there's use case for AI in terms of what the NIP does, for sure.
In 2024, the Namibia Institute of Pathology received the overall Oculus Lumen Award at their clients and partner event. Why did they win this recognition?
So again, when we have our yearly Lumen event and we do recognize certain individual or certain businesses or customers or partners, there's different categories. The overall winner again is where we like to say, what have they done from an overall point of view? So what's the type of data that they're working with? How complex is the problem that they're solving? And I think with the Namibia Institute of Pathology, the great thing about them was they ticked all the boxes. So it was, again, a complicated solution that we had to deploy on premise. It was massive, massive amounts of data. Almost as if, I think it was by far and most the largest volume set that Oculus has ever dealt with. Wow. So it was things like that. And then again, also the innovative use of the software, the number of dashboards that they've deployed. So, you know, it's about recognizing the problem the customer brought to us, but it's also about recognizing the problem Oculus solved and how Oculus solved it. So I think that's why we went with, you know, the NIP for the award.
Lastly, what advice would you offer to other healthcare institutions that are considering the adoption of BI or data analytics solutions?
Specifically in healthcare or pathology, it's massive data, it's large volume data sets, and it's also about the fact that they need the data to be hosted inside their network. So I think at the moment what I'm seeing in a lot of those institutions is there doesn't seem to be a very clear and direct understanding about what technology they can use to solve their problems. I think they very clearly know what their problems are. I think they know that cost is a problem. I think they know that data sovereignty is a problem, that also speed of use and rapid deployment of these solutions is a problem for them. But I don't think they truly know how to go about to solve all these problems. And I don't think they are evaluating all the software. So my advice to other providers in the healthcare or pathology space, evaluate the different software components against each other. Look at all the other competitors, look at our Oculus, put them together and make a requirements list about what you're trying to achieve. And then say, does this tick my box? Tick my box. And be realistic. Don't go with something just because it's a well-known product. Go really and understand, this is my problem, this is the thing I'm trying to solve. So for example, I'm talking to a certain provider in the medical aid industry. You know, they have a mobile app. They have over 100,000 members. They want to embed their reports inside the mobile app. They want to provide access to these 100,000 members. So they are very worried about the cost of the solution that's going to provide that for them. So, you know, like, understand what your requirements are. Don't just talk about big data, talk about data distribution, talk about how do you want to use artificial intelligence inside your solution to provide insights. As an example, we have built a feature recently that when we send dashboards and reporting out to a customer, or we essentially get a Gen AI model to summarize the dashboard for us. And we ask it to provide certain key points that it picks up where there might be, let's call it, concerns, and provide a recommendation to solve those concerns. So instead of us just scheduling a dashboard out and sending a mailer with just a link to a dashboard or a converted PDF, we write a summary from the Gen AI model. So at least it now directs the user what to look at in the dashboard. So those are the type of things you need to understand, like, does that make sense for me as a business? Do I want to send dashboards with context, or do I just want to send a link in a dashboard? Make sure you understand what the requirements are about what you're trying to solve.
Back to the basics.
Yes, go to the basics, bullet point them. This is the 10 things we're trying to solve, and then evaluate the software products out there and say, how will this product solve this problem for me?
Thanks so much for your time today, Robert.
Thanks for having me.
It was great to discover that NIP is not just managing data, they're redefining pathology. Together, NIP and Oculus are setting new standards for data-driven intelligence, one insight at a time. To learn more about Oculus and how they can level up your business outcomes, visit oculus.com. Thanks for watching.